Hello, today's question from an IT leader is, should I be a servant leader? And we talk about this quite a lot in a roundabout way, don't we? Servant leadership.
Yeah, we do.
So how would you define it?
Very briefly, servant leadership is taking the actions or behaving in a way that best helps your team. So, for me, the answer to the question of should I be a servant leader is simply served with yes. I would suggest you get, certainly if you're working in complicated, complex even, environments, where what you did last week won't necessarily work next week, then your role as a leader must be in that space to help create the right environment for your teams to be successful. Perhaps if we just talk briefly, the opposite of a servant leader by implication is perhaps more of a top-down, my way or the highway kind of leader.
Yeah, well, it's the traditional management style of autocratic power, control, command and control styles of leadership.
It's the kind of artisan management where you presume, or there is a presumption that the boss knows best. The challenge with servant leadership that I see often, or rather people trying to adopt more of an agile approach to leadership, is they perhaps go too far. So I was trying to be quite clear in my words when I talked about what a servant leader is. It's someone who takes the right actions to effectively create the environment of success for the team. So imagine the situation where you've got a leader that wants to become more of a servant, wants their team to be more self-organised and empowered. So they take the action, which seems very logical, to stand back from the team and let the team organise themselves. Back to my question, is that the best thing to do to help the team achieve, or is that creating the right environment? It might not be. If the team have clarity of their destination, they have got some experience and some maturity in terms of organising their priorities, if they already feel like they can be assertive in the organisation and describe the destination they're going to, and all of those things, then yeah, that may be an amazing thing to do. Equally, what you could do is leave a team bereft of direction. They no longer have got your capability, or they've got no longer got your skill and your view of the world. They haven't got your experience and your guidance and your coaching. They could lose out very much. So back to that point about creating the right environment, a servant leader is connected to and continues and constantly experiments and constantly asks to find out where the team could be best supported and best engaged.
But for me, it comes back to that question you ask yourself: how is it I can best serve my team at any given situation?
Great question.
So what would I do? And the challenge with some of this is that you talked about earlier, is that as a leader you can remain exhausted because all you're doing is giving and supporting and creating that environment, and that's not helpful either. So at any given situation, ask yourself what you can do to help your people, how you can inspire, how you can facilitate, how you can coach those conversations through, how you can equip your teams with what they need at any given time.
Just to be clear, one dimension, servant leadership is not subservience. So this is not about doing everything you possibly can so that your team are happy and have fun. It's not about answering their every request, or rather saying yes to absolutely everything. It can also be about being decisive, supporting them with very difficult decisions sometimes, taking the team in directions, and indeed telling them what to do sometimes. If there's an absolute imperative and a direction, then you owe it to the team to tell them about that and share that destination. It's not just a sit there waiting for them to ask you a question and then providing an answer. You do, I talked to someone a while ago, there's kind of metaphor for it of kind of having one hand in the sky of where the organisation is going, and then another hand with the team, whichever angle you want that at. But your job as the leader is to help those two worlds kind of connect. So true servant leadership is enabling that team to succeed given that environment.
I always have the visual of, if you think of the traditional management style where everyone used to have an office, so you're sat in an office, and if you're sat there waiting for people to come and ask you a question, that's actually power and control.
Yeah.
That's not
Passive aggressive.
Yes,
Almost.
that's not being a servant leader. And it's also not being, I'm just going to sit with my team, because that makes people feel really uncomfortable if you don't do it all the time. Don't just go and plonk yourself somewhere. And unless it's the right environment, unless people are used to it, unless people understand, why you're doing it, because otherwise people go, gosh, they're watching over me, what am I doing? Again, that's that power and control. So it's a fine balance, but you can practice it, and you can become, we talk about being much more authentic and being a bit more human in that situation. What would you do? What would you like your teams to be doing? How would you like to be treated in that situation?
I would agree. So I think in summary, to the question, should you be a servant leader? Yes. But be clear about what that means. It's not subservience. It's an active style of leadership where you're learning and helping your teams by creating the environment that they need to succeed. So we're looking for lots of feedback on how you behave, maybe even third parties helping you to do that as well, and keeping a good eye on the results that you're getting at the other end.
Brilliant. So thank you very much for your question. We hope that gives you some tips. If you have any comments or questions, do get in touch, message us or comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you.